Hello and welcome to NSMBU Deluxe. As you can probably tell, this is the one new super game that I haven't played yet on the channel. So, I think it's time to do it.
Here we go.
Let's play as Mario and go ahead. Yeah, I finally discovered what was causing my mic, very rarely, to go from 85% volume, which is what it should be, to 100. Can you believe it? It was Microsoft Teams! What a miserably dreadful program. Not my choice to use it, but you know how it is. Anyways, yeah, as opposed to a lot of the other Mario games, this time we're rejected from the castle. And we have to run back to the castle, which seems like a really neat idea. I also love this specific intro background with how they have like level 5000 parallax scrolling with the large amount of 2D backgrounds. If there's one issue with this game, it's basically just that it was the last one, you know? Like, that's kind of the issue, isn't it? I feel like if there was a larger gap between this game and the other games, like, if this game came out in, like, 2014, it would have been maybe accepted a little bit better. But that would have obviously been way too late. And, it also feels vaguely gimmickless. Like, if we think of which gimmicks each game introduced, right? DS was the first. We introduced, like, generally larger levels, 4-player multiplayer, that sort of stuff. Then 2 was kinda like, you know, DS, right? Because it's the continuation of New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. Then Mario 3 was... then, you know, that was basically the third one, weirdly enough. Then the next game was basically, U, and, as it was the fourth one, people already kinda sick of it. And while I've heard a lot of people claim that it's better than Wii, which we'll find out, definitely, I don't really, like, think the difference is that big. I think one nice thing is just how level design in almost all the levels, but especially in NSMB2, I thought to myself when I was recording that, which, by the way, that was all recorded in, like, one day, one afternoon, I believe, or maybe 2 afternoons, where I was going somewhere with my family, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to record everything in one day. And so I did. Now, fuck. Regarding the power-ups... Oh, great, we didn't even get a 1-up. Regarding the power-ups, I have to say, I don't know, I feel like maybe it's the nostalgia goggles, but I kinda like the propeller cap a little bit more. But yeah. This has a lot more, like, gameplay variety, I guess, a higher skill ceiling, but it's, you know, not the propeller cap. Anyways, yeah, I'm missing a lot of these. But yeah, overall, can't really say I'm, mad at any of the gimmick power-ups. Really, what I'm thinking, right? So, New Super Mario Bros. DS added, like, not only, like, the new sort of levels and stuff, like, the new sort of NSMBU style, it also added the, like, power-up bank, which I think is an interesting mechanic. Because, like, New Super Mario Bros. 2 kept it, because it was on the 3DS. This game and Wii didn't keep it. So you may be thinking, okay, maybe... Because, you know, Super Mario 3D Land also had a banked-up power-up. So now you may be thinking, you know, okay, that's a mechanic strictly reserved for the mobile versions. I guess the handheld versions. And, shit. You'd be right if, wait, by the way, this can... I'm not stupid. This can... Ah, for fuck's sake. You know what I was trying to see, but yeah. Like, the question then is, okay, how come New Super Mario Bros, yes, it was New Super Mario Bros, but how come 3D World also introduced the power-up thing? And, the truth is, I think it's more a matter of game design. I feel like, you know, with Wii, because they were working with the Wiimote, yeah, that's probably the reason. You just don't really have the buttons, I think. Yeah, I don't know though, man. They introduced it in 3D World, which, if anything, has a significantly more complex control scheme. I don't know, Luigi. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it's this pipe. Okay. Yeah. Oh, what is this? Hello. Huh? That sure is a lot of coins. Okay. No! Oh. Hello. Be of use to me. And what do you do? Coin. Okay. One thing, there's a sort of, I'm gonna call it Zoomer nostalgia, because it is. For me, at least, with specifically, like, this era of Nintendo, like, the, sort of, oh, for fuck's sake, now we're not gonna be able to get the thing. I didn't intend to kill the guy I was sliding down with. Yeah, because I think that's the last Koopa in the level. Ah, whatever. But yeah, what my point was going to be is, basically, yeah, whatever. This isn't probably a 100% thing, so it's fine. I don't know, it's weird, because, I know for a fact that Nintendo today is basically better than how Nintendo was back then. But there sort of was something, you know? I'm probably the one guy who uses YouTube community posts, for, like, the things I think about, but where else would I really, you know? I thought about making videos and that sort of stuff, but I always feel like, you know, that could have really been an email, so, like, I may as well. Anyways, that's sort of the idea, but, the problem we run into, if you can't tell, is I made a post saying basically, like, I started it off with, like, the meme, you know, all caps, Nintendo has forgotten about Mario, because that's the meme, right? Like, there are a lot of these Nintendo-themed channels who've, over the last few years, made it their mission to basically only cover Nintendo, only cover Mario, that sort of stuff. And because of that, like, this is something which I really like about Scott the Woz. He basically avoided this issue by covering such a wide amount of stuff that he's not really a Nintendo channel, you know? Even if, that's a pretty big focus of his, he's not the Nintendo guy, really. And, what we have seen recently is there's a pretty decent amount of channels online who will, like, cover Nintendo stuff, but they'll be kind of bad at it, or, like, they'll make their entire channel covering news, so they'll, you know, whenever there's not a lot of interesting Nintendo news happening, they have no content, which means they get no views, and if, you're trying to make it as a creator, you can understand how that's basically you not, earning enough money. And you, especially these days, you kinda need money to survive. You know, maybe, like, you know, maybe fucking one of these Nintendo people would much rather talk about his love for, like, Growlancer 2 on the PS2, but, sadly, that's just not how it is. And I understand their pain. I understand, like, the shit. I understand how, frustrating it must be, right? But, I also think there's a genuine... Like, I think that there is something genuine in what they're complaining about, right? Think about it. There was a recent article I read from how, for a lot of people, like, Final Fantasy 16, you know, like, think about it, right? How many Final Fantasy games have come out in recent times? There's only, like, Final Fantasy 16 and the FF7 remakes, right? And, like, gaming franchises which receive so few, like, releases in a short span of time are, like, being kind of butchered by just people not knowing about them. Like, people make the meme about, you know, Nintendo has forgotten about Mario, but imagine you're a kid, right, who was born in 96. When you're a little kid, you know, you may have seen something like Mario 64, or whatever, and, like, the Mario Advance, or, like, you know, the Mario Land games on Game Boy, right? Then, as you get older, you first see Mario Sunshine, then you see, Mario, you know, the Mario Advance series of games, and then you get a little bit more older, and then you see, like, you know, the new Super Series, you see Mario Galaxy, that sort of stuff. And while there's obviously, like, critiques to be made, but that's just a really... That's, like, a really fast schedule of games where you can kind of, you know, build a sort of brand image, right? But the issue I feel is that, with a lot of the, you know, more modern releases, the gaps between them are just so big, you can't have that growth, really. Like, I was at the tail end of that growth, basically, in terms of, you know, I guess that's why a lot of, like, Gen Z people are nostalgic about the sort of Wii and Wii U era. Because, while, yeah, like, there are 4 Xenoblades on Switch, and that's obviously good, so many Nintendo franchises feel like they've just kind of not been as common. And that sucks. Because, as you can probably tell, a lot of people miss their Nintendo franchises. Like, the whole Nintendo must have forgotten about Mario thing is a meme. People make fun of it. But it's because they're kind of onto something, you know? They may be phrasing it in a stupid way. They may be, like, not fully aware of the actual... Oops. I guess it's fine. Of the actual problems at hand that we have. But they do see that there's some kind of issue there, which... I mean, then obviously you explain to people how... You know, having... Oh no, Yoshi! Okay, it's fine. How having a problem... And having, like, you know, how seeing that there is a problem and having a solution to that problem are completely different things, and they should never be confused for each other. And, I mean, you would be completely right there, but you should also consider the fact that, you know, it's important to tell someone, hey, you're on the right track, but I think you're wrong in this, you know, for this or that reason. And I think that there's a... Oh shit, the star coin's probably up there. Yeah, it is. How do you get up there? From here? Maybe? Oh, I'm stupid. I thought I was supposed to do this with Yoshi. No? Where's the fucking star coin? Okay. Over here somewhere? No, doesn't seem like it. Whatever. It's, not this pipe, is it? Nope. Okay, let's, finish the level, shall we? But yeah, that's sort of the thing, right? Oops. And it is frustrating, I understand. But it's just, you know... If you think about it... If some kid was born in, like... You know, 2012, right? They were kinda too young to really experience 3D World on the Wii U. So maybe the, you know, the Switch was basically their first system. Yoshi! Yoshi! Okay. But, like, then we go on to the, you know, Switch era. And as a little kid, you know, they play Odyssey. And then they play 3D World. And then, you know, that's it. And I guess they play DK Bonanza today, but you get what I mean. It's, this is sort of something which I really like that the Zelda series has sort of managed to avoid. Because, okay, granted, sometimes it's not a Zelda game. It's a Hyrule Warriors game. Also known as how all Zelda games should be. Asterisk. But memes aside, you know, you get what I mean. Shit. Nope, baby Yoshi, come with me. We'll need this for later. No! I may have forgotten about, something. Okay. Can you eat that? Oh, you can. Okay. We'll first have to eat these guys. Come on. Ah, close enough. Shit. Ah, you gotta be shitting me. All of that work. And for what? For me to accidentally spin when I shouldn't have. Whatever. You get what I mean, though? Like... Yes, the situation is nowhere near as dire as some people pretend it is, but, like... Man, it sure does suck. And I mean, again, you know, it's, you know, it's kind of like, sometimes you've gotta accept that a problem exists, and that, you know, because a lot of people kind of like to be reflexively dismissive of this sort of stuff, and I definitely feel something in the same sort of way. It's just sort of like, because, you know, it's like, oh yeah, Nintendo has forgotten about Mario? Really? You really think Nintendo forgot about their flagship franchise? But, like, they kind of have a point.
Mario time.
Maybe they're stupid about how they're making it, but there is a point to be made about how Mario isn't as prevalent as he once was. And yeah, you do have an NSMBU Deluxe, you do have, like, 3D World, and Bowser's Fury, and Wonder, but you can tell how for hardcore Mario fans, which is a decent chunk of them, 3D World and Bowser's Fury was something they probably already experienced, and, like, the Wii had more 2D and 3D Marios than, like, more new 2D and 3D Marios, yeah, than the fucking Switch, and it doesn't... It almost doesn't even feel that way, but yeah. And it is kind of interesting to think about, because I've also made the argument that you shouldn't, in most cases, and this is something I will stand by here, I don't think it's fair to say that the Wii U games ported from Switch aren't, at least in some respects, Switch exclusive. This is because, while, yeah, they existed previously on the, you know, Wii U, most people really didn't have a Wii. Most people didn't have a Wii U. And, like, the games basically got a second life on the, you know, a second chance at life on the Switch. And it's one of those things where it's like, that's true for most people, that's true for me, like, you know, that's fucking true for a lot of people. Even, you know, even for people who may have been Nintendo fans. Not everybody bought a fucking Wii U. But the issue we run into is, of course, the fact that, like, while that is definitely true, it's also like, don't go into the massive piranha plant. I don't know. I need more time to think about this, because I understand it's like, there are other things to play, but from a sort of, like, brand perspective, familiarity perspective, I don't want to say fan perspective, because that feels gross to say as of a recent events. Oh, there's nothing there. But yeah, like, as of that sort of perspective, you can definitely tell why it feels kind of like a bit of a missed opportunity. This is kind of why I really appreciated the direction Nintendo was going in with games like Mario Galaxy 2, New Super Luigi U, like relatively quick expansions that use the sort of base game, quote-unquote, but don't actually, like, require that much more dev time. You know? And I understand it's contentious for some of you. But yeah, it makes me wonder. It's kind of like how, recently there's been this expansion for the Switch 2 called, like, Mario Wonder Belleville Park? And I haven't done much research on it, as at the time of filming, it's a fairly recent release. And I've only ever seen Samusty play it, so chances are, at least from his streams, it's a multiplayer challenge sort of thing. And I find that, like, as an interesting idea, though, I feel like for so many of the Switch games, I feel like it was kind of dumb for Nintendo not to double dip, you know? And I understand it's like, oh, you're supporting developer greed or whatever. I guess? But you've got to admit, you know, the hype behind Mario, like, if instead of working on, you know, if in 2023, Nintendo released, what do we have? Ah, shit, I'll take it. If in 2023, Nintendo released Super Mario Odyssey 2, and it was like Mario Galaxy 2, you know, sort of similar-ish, some of the level themes are sort of similar, some of the level themes are new, but, like, the story has been sort of simplified a bit further, you know? And it's basically a glorified level pack that just so happens to have enough levels to be a, you know, full second game. Shit. And I understand why some people may not be fans of this idea, but I don't know, I feel like it'd make a lot of sense from a, like, game development perspective. And again, it's... The thing is, right, like, I am a programmer. I have dabbled in some games stuff, but this is more like, it's how gaming functioned for a while. We were gonna get a Twilight Princess 2 until Miyamoto decided, no, ruin the game, make it Link's crossbow training. Yay! We got Ocarina of Time, and then Majora's Mask, so, like, there is stuff to be seen, you know? Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, when we continue on in NSMBU Deluxe. See you then. Goodbye.